So it's 4 in the morning, guys. Like, I can't even begin to can. Whose bright idea was this? So I thought to myself last night, let me wear these and let me sleep in the satin sheets. And I found myself sliding off the bed like just a few moments ago, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I can't even begin to count. Like I said, oh, my word. I'm tired. It's a Saturday. I should be asleep. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have some coffee and, shower and all that good stuff. And then I don't know if I'm going to do most of it on or off camera, but let's see. Then we're going to go to the mall. Then we're going to do my nails. I think on or off. I haven't decided. And I'm going to talk to you about networking. All right. So that's the plan. That's the overall plan. Let's see how it goes. So, as I wait for the malls to open, let's talk a little bit about networking. So, for a lot of you, the reason why networking is not working for you is because you think that it's one event that you go to, one single event that you go to that was planned maybe for the entire year, and you go to that event on one day. And you think, okay, today I'm going to carry all my business cards, I'm going to carry all my CVs, I'm going to shake everybody's hand, I'm going to look at them in the eye, I'm going to introduce myself, and they're going to remember me. That's not how it works. That's really not how it works. So I remember last year on the 18th of December, I had a Twitter space where I was invited to by Everything Data. By the way, shout out to them. And I had this conversation with a lot of you, but I know also that a lot of you are not on Twitter. So I'm bringing this conversation here so that you get the juicy information, you get the information that you need that's going to help you with your career prospects, okay? So let's talk about networking. A lot of people have also commodified the art of relationships. Networking is described or defined by the Oxford Dictionary as, meeting with people or exchanging with people for the purpose of obtaining some kind of advantage. Okay, so this could be career advantage, social advantage. For example, like if you want to marry up, it's called social climbing. If you're networking for career prospects, that's where it's mainly used in. So people's relationships, as much as we want to say we commodify it, a lot of relationships are for a purpose. If you're the person who's going through life just like vibes and inshallah, this is not the space for you. This is a space for people who are intentional about what they're doing, where they're going, who they're meeting, who they're talking to, and exactly when and how they go about it, right? So the thing I said on the space is that networking is not a one-time event. It's your life, it's your relationships, it's your persona. It's how you continue with these relationships long after that handshake, long after that CV exchange, long after that business card handing over, long after all of that. What are you doing? This is the difference between people who make it and people who don't, okay? Stop treating it as, okay, I'm going to this place, I'm going to meet the CEO of this and this, I'm going to this school fair or whatever, job fair, whatever the case that is, and then I'm just gonna, my CV is the best, it's the greatest, I have 20 years of experience, I'm just gonna drop it and it's going to wow everyone, and voila, I'm gonna get the job. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So how can you network in a way that actually benefits you, right? The first thing I'm going to tell you is you need to stand out from the crowd. And standing out from the crowd means that out of all the CVs they're going to look at, out of all the profiles they're going to look at, maybe on LinkedIn or whatever search they're going to do, how does yours stand out? Yours should stand out not only by the details that you put in, but also by living out loud. So every little project, every little thing that you embark on, this talking is a terror. Anyway, every little thing that you try, you attempt, every course, every project, every achievement, everything, put it out there, put yourself out there, because in networking you have to put yourself out there. So I don't see why you're not doing this on a daily basis. Like, you have an idea, you have a brilliant idea, you execute it, maybe it worked, maybe it failed, but nobody cares about that. People care about the process, the journey, seeing you move from point A to point B, because in that learning and in acknowledging both your failures and your successes, you are proving to be someone who can withstand trial, difficulty, all these things that you keep saying. I can work well under pressure, I can manage projects. Well, projects sometimes fail, and it's good to also admit that. The problem with our generation, we want to show the good side of things. I think this is why I also started today's video with showing you the background, like, this is how I get ready first, just not the perfected side, not the end result, but let's see the process. And that's what it is. Living out loud is the process. I started, let's say, with Excel basics, and this is what I learned, these were the projects that I did, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, and this is what I gathered from it. Okay, that's going to make you stand out. The second thing I would advise you to do is always accept the coffee. So let's say you are in your office space and your boss, your manager, or even your co-workers invite you for coffee, invite you for breakfast, invite you for lunch, whatever it might be. A majority of promotions don't just happen because of the work that you did at work. A majority of them happen because of the connections that you made outside of work with your work people. So for example, they went out golfing or they went to the steak bar and they hang out, and these people, your colleagues, were impressing the company's clients in front of your bosses, and they looked at them and they said, well, I can send these people on a trip with my clients and they would be happy. My clients would be happy and satisfied. So it's not just about the work that you deliver, it's also about your personality. It's about how you interact with other people. And how do you show that outside of your workspace? How do you show that outside of your, I'm doing the job, I'm grinding 20 hours, 12 hours, how many hours? It's gonna be sad, but it's true. But the people who work the hardest get rewarded with more work. But the people who know how to build connections actually move up the ladder, okay? The next thing I'm gonna tell you is never stop advertising yourself, okay? Even within your own company. You need to talk about what you're currently doing, what you're currently learning, your skills. So for example, you're in an organization and people know you as a finance manager, but they don't know that you also speak French, as an example. So they wouldn't be putting you at the forefront of their minds when they're thinking, there's a client in France and we need someone on site to help them with their financial books or something like that. They need to always remember what you can do, what you are learning to do, what you can't do as well. This is something then we need to be honest about, the things we cannot do. So networking is also not overselling yourself. It's not going there and saying, I can build a house, I can also build tanks, I can build spaceship, no. Be honest and upfront about what you can do, what you cannot do, what you're willing to learn. This honesty takes you far more places than it does just sitting there and acting like you're a superhuman, right? So far I've given you 3 tips on how to successfully network, okay? The 4th tip is maintain that relationship. So once you've been to that event as an assumption, or you've met these people that you wanted to really introduce yourself to, how do you take it to the next level? The next level looks like following up with an email or following up with a message. Hi, I really enjoyed our interaction yesterday. I think your insights on the topics A, B, and C, this shows that you were listening to the person. This shows that you were not just there trying to, get something from them. You were actually listening. So people like to be flattered. People like when you listen to them, it boosts their ego. So remind them that you were listening. You were the one person there who was listening and who can make a contribution. Tell them that you like what they talked about. Tell them that you agree with their opinion. Tell them that maybe you would like to discuss it further over a cup of coffee. Tell them that you're open to connecting on other platforms, okay? And once you do that, also offer your services up. So this is going to be tip like number 5. I don't know, I lost count. The other thing you can do is offering your services. So the truth about networking is that if you are looking to meet people who can help your career, then you are already starting off lower on the totem pole. You are not on the same level, because if you were on the same level, you wouldn't need their help. That's the fact of it. So because you need their help, the best way to go about it is knowing this and playing your position well. How do you play your position well? You can offer yourself up, volunteer for projects, volunteer to help, volunteer your skill set, volunteer your time, okay? Say for example they're working on something, or say for example you go to their company website and you notice there's some things that you can build better. Volunteer, okay? I'm not saying misuse your entire time, but if you're trying to get to a certain goal, this is the best way to get there. So say I went to website X and I felt like you could use a different header, or you can use a different color scheme, and let me just show you a little bit of what I can do. Here is what I have redesigned, and this is what it looks like. Would you like to try it out? Would you like to discuss it? Would you like to see how we can implement this together? Okay, that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like, hey, could you give me a job just because I said I'm good at that? Why? There are 20 other people or more asking for the attention of this same person, because they are in that kind of position. If they can help you, they can help 20 other people as well. What's going to make you stand out? What is going to make the difference between them choosing you and choosing their nephew, for example? You have to bring the extra sauce. You have to bring the extra value. You have to be the one that puts that one foot, that better foot, the cleaner shoe out there. And you do this by showing exactly what you can do, alright? That we've talked about the best ways to network, let's also talk about what networking is not. Networking is not, first of all, it's not attending an event for free food and drinks. I know maybe this didn't need to be said, but I have to say it. So it's not that event that you go to and you're like, let me now go eat and enjoy free cocktails, enjoy free champagne, enjoy whatever. By the way, the people who you're trying to connect with are probably watching you at that same event. So if you know you have a very low alcohol tolerance, don't be that person that goes and acts crazy. Also, don't be that person who sees a buffet table and acts like you've never seen food before, because this is exactly what I talked about before. If you're invited out for coffee, lunch, or whatever, and they're watching your social skills, they're watching you, how you interact, how you're cultured, how well-mannered you are, and if your potential bosses, managers, networks are watching you and thinking this person wouldn't fit in our social circles because of how they dress, behave, speak, eat, and drink, look at what you've done to yourself. Networking is also not just having awkward conversations just because you want to get to know the person, or you just want to exchange your CV and business card at that point. So it's about building natural connections, okay? So if you join like a group of conversation, a round table, and you feel like the person you actually thought you're going to connect with, you really can't connect with them, it's completely okay to move on. You don't have to force the relationship, because you know what a forced relationship is? Both of you are going to feel that. Both of you are going to feel that awkwardness you're already feeling, and you're in a worse position because this other person doesn't have to entertain you, and you feel like you have to kiss their booty, right? So don't do that if it's not naturally working, because you have to move that relationship. And if it's just not the one, if it's just not gelling, move on. Okay, move on from that. It's also not just exchanging random phone numbers and giving out your CV and cards to everybody just because I'm here to network. They're gonna throw it away, they're not gonna remember you, and you have lost and wasted your printing paper. Alright? It's also not going there to simply beg and ask for a job. It's never, okay, I have a rich uncle and I'm just going to call him today and say, hey, I need a job. It doesn't work like that, even with your rich uncles. The reason probably most of them have ignored you after you graduated is because you never bothered to build that relationship before. And even if you did, you were probably so transparent in your intention that they ignore your calls, because we all know that one person who's calling us because they want a favor, and nobody likes to be in that position. Oh my god, this person is calling again. Don't be the person who makes people feel that way. Networking or a networking event is also not a chance for you to speak crap about your previous or current employer. So even if you're unhappy at your current job, this is not the time or place to talk badly about that, because what people are reading into that is if you're speaking badly about the people who are buttering your bread currently, that's exactly how you're going to speak about them. And nobody likes bad PR for themselves or their companies. So when you're trash talking your boss or trash talking your company, thinking that it's gonna gain you favors, even if this other company is their competition, it really doesn't matter, because you are going to end up looking like the bad person in the end. Okay, so don't do that. Do not ever do that. So now let's assume you're at a networking event. I mean, you're finally here, and then all of a sudden you're freezing. So let's talk about the challenges that you might face when you're out there trying to network. The first thing is that you might feel intimidated, you might feel shy, you might not want to ask for help, and this is totally normal. There are people with this kind of behavioral or character or whatever, and it's completely okay. Maybe you're introverted, maybe you're just not used to being around people, or this is just not your type of thing. Like, it's completely fine. What I can tell you to do is practice in front of a mirror. Try to do that as often and as much as you can. Maybe you don't even have friends, but if you do have friends, also practice in front of them. Tell them, hey, I need to make a really huge speech. Can I have 5 minutes of your time? Let me talk to you, let me walk you through it, tell me what you think, etc. So the more you practice, the more you do it, the more natural it's going to feel for you, the easier it is for you. I think the coffee is very loud. The easier it's gonna be for you to connect with people, because now you're used to speaking. Maybe you're just always alone in your home. You don't have to talk to anyone. You just have to code. You just have to do whatever you have to do. So the more you get used to speaking and to other people or in front of a mirror, the more natural it's going to be for you. The other problem that might arise is that, okay, you have introduced yourself as an expert in Python as an example, and then now they're asking you questions about Python, and it comes out that you're not really an expert like you have sold yourself out to be. This is what I said in the beginning. This is not an opportunity to oversell yourself, your capabilities, your skills, your whatever. Be as honest and as upfront as you can. You can still honestly say, I'm still learning Python, I'm interested in it, I'm passionate about it. But you don't need to sell yourself as an expert if you know that you're not an expert, because it will backfire. If you're suddenly at the center of attention in that round table and now people asking you questions, or assume that you land the interview, you land the callback, and then they're asking you, how do you navigate certain scenarios, and you're like a deer in the headlights because you lied. Don't be that person. Do your research as much as you can on the subject matter. Upgrade your skills and be honest about them. Another problem you might face is that feeling of intimidation, because it's normal when you meet people who are like eons above you, more experienced, more exposed, more whatever the case might be. Maybe they're even your idols in the career, in the whatever field you're in, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, you're starstruck and you can't speak, you know, or you just feel like in this table or at this event everybody else knows much more than I do. It's better that I should be quiet. So I do this sometimes, like I'm like, okay, this is not the space for me to speak, it's a space for me to learn. But if your intention is to make your presence known, the best way to do it is to ask questions. So if they're speaking on a subject, engage them by asking questions, okay? Ask questions related to the subject matter, ask for guidance, ask for further consultation, or even contribute in as much and as far as you can, okay? Don't be shy, and this is something else that's going to take a lot of practice. It's not going to take, oh, all of a sudden you wake up and you're good at it. You just need to practice. Right, so this video is already too long. I don't think I'm going to do all the rest of the things I said I'm going to do on video because it's too long. I've delivered the message that I wanted to deliver anyway. So yeah, I'm going to end it here and see you in the next one.